What's going on, guys? King Trats here, back with a video on the channel, and today we actually made one of my favorite meals I used to make back in college. This was definitely a budget baller meal, and it came to me one day on accident because I just, am the freestyle king, and this is what I came up with. You ever hear of chicken pot pie? Well, we got chicken pot fries. Yes, that is right. Chicken pot fries. The same exact kind of stuff you would make out of chicken pot pie. You just don't stuff it in a pie crust. You can also use biscuits if you want to. That's the way I've seen it the most. But this is the way that I like to do it. So we did it today. Let me take you through the process. It's so simple. This meal costs less than $10. If you add it all up, it actually costs $9. And that's because I used 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. So if I did use a cheaper meat, which I used to in college, it would actually cost a lot cheaper. But the fries, the entire bag of fries were Nathan's famous fries, 100 calories a serving, so that's really low. And that bag was $2.50. But let me take you through the process. We started with our chicken, which we diced up into bite-sized pieces, and then we seasoned up with, you see the seasoning line right here, so garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, as well as some McCormick's Grill Mates, not Grill Mates, but Montreal chicken, that's what it was. Added that on there, and then we put that in our pan, which we sprayed up with a little bit of Pam, and then we browned that off until it was not all the way, it didn't have to be all the way cooked through, but until it got some nice color to it. And then we just added our frozen peas and carrots. The peas and carrots only cost $1. Actually, I think it's like 70 cents, but I rounded up. So we added the peas and carrots in there, and then we have a 50-cent can of Campbell's Condensed. This is a fat-free version of their cream of chicken soup. Added that in there, as well as a can of water and a tablespoon of milk. You can use any kind of milk you want to. I didn't add the milk in there, but you want to add a 1/4 cup of milk or cream or whatever it is, you can add that in there if somebody's saying I didn't. Fudge the numbers. Add that in there, and then we just stirred it up, seasoned it again with those same exact seasonings, and then just let that simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes, just till it thickens up a little bit. If you want it thicker, you can use milk completely instead of water, but I didn't. In the meantime, we use those fries, we put them in the air fryer for 25 minutes, and once those were done, put the fries in a plate, ladle that on the top. I'm drooling. Ladle that on the top, and that is what you see here. It's that simple. That was one of my quick go-to meals in college. I also would do this with pasta, and or you can use canned biscuits like the what is it, Pillsbury? Yeah, the Pillsbury joints. You can use those too. Really anything. Even would work on mashed potatoes. I've done that too. Anything, but the chicken pot part was the easiest part, or the part that really means anything. But this was it. Budget balling. Also, if you're in a rush and you want to make something quick that's kind of like good, this is your go-to, or this can be your go-to. Make it for the kids, whoever. But I don't want to drip. So I'm gonna slide on over like I slide in your DMs and get up in there. Nathan's crinkle cut. It's so good and it's so filling and so simple. You can make this versatile. You can change the kind of whatever you mix the chicken or whatever meat with, but it's the same idea. This was like, I even made this when I lived in the dorms. Foreman grill. So I cooked everything else. Man, this takes me back. This is one of them times you have like a final to study for, or you're stressed out, maybe your girlfriend dumped you. Sit down with a nice hot meal. It's like it's gonna be alright. I was thinking about this the other day because air fryers weren't popular when I was in college. The dorms would have been popping if I had an air fryer. I'd have been frying chicken in that motherfucker, which some people actually did. That's a whole other story. I remember one time when I was a freshman, I thought I was doing something. So I had everybody get Foreman grills. Because, everybody has one in college. It's like the thing. And at least it was when I was in college. Now probably everybody got air fryers, but had everybody bring their Foreman grills to like the commons area in the dorms. You know what I'm talking about? When they have like the little areas like just a bunch of chairs and shit. And I just made burgers for everybody. Had the whole dorm smelling like just a cookout, but that was the way I made friends. I love them like that, like the what do you call it? I guess you would just call it the soup, but the sauce, I guess, gets on the fries and just makes them. I also overcook my fries a little bit on purpose so they don't get like mad soggy. Pro tip. See, like this fry, look at that. See that? So I was like all up on. Oh, that's the one. Hot as hell. But it's only take you like 15, 20 minutes. But I fell in love with cooking, truthfully, in college. Like, that's where I really started, like, you know, trying to just experiment and make different stuff. I would have the Food Network on, like, religiously. And with the little bit of money that I had, which really wasn't any, I would try to make, like, budget versions of whatever. Especially when I got to grad school. That's when I got heavy. Because I wasn't playing ball no more, but I was trying to make all this stuff. I remember I spent like a month straight trying to make crab cakes, trying to like perfect it. That was like my thing, because I used to really watch. He's not really on TV anymore, but I don't know how many people remember like Emeril Lagasse, but that was my guy. And he always made like different kinds of crab cakes, but if you do like the hood version, you can make crab cakes with, like, I used to use tuna, like cans of tuna instead, because I had no money. Or you can use like the canned salmon. It works the same. You're not going to get like the lump crab, but lump crab is like $16 for that little. You get like 3 cans of tuna to do the same thing. So I would practice with tuna. And I had a girlfriend at the time. And then when like she wanted to eat, I would splurge and get the crab. Also, learn how to fry chicken. Like, I fried chicken in another, like, 2 months. It was hot. But I don't care. But I taught myself how to fry chicken in college, too. Food Network, same thing. Same girl, she bought me cookbooks. I think it was either my birthday or Christmas, one of the two. And they were all from, again, these chefs aren't really like in the limelight anymore. They don't really do cooking shows anymore, because cooking shows kind of faded. But this chef's particular name was Tyler Florence. And he had a show at the time that was called Tyler's Ultimate. And I loved that show. His thing was just like, he always said he was gonna make the ultimate version of like whatever recipe. So he would do like, you know, whether it was fried chicken or I think he did do crab cakes too, or pasta or whatever. And he made fried chicken one time. I think he's from like the South, and he made with like buttermilk, you know, the brine, and then like a little sriracha, and then twice dipped it, and you know, had the hot honey. This was, you know, 10 years ago. And I wanted to learn how to make that so bad that she got me the cookbook, and I just kept buying like chicken, just learning how to fry it. I messed up hella batches. Hella batches. Sometimes I'd undercook it. Like, the outside would be crispy, and then the inside would still be like, you know, kind of bleeding. But that's how you learn. I would have to finish in the oven. You know, I have like a little meat thermometer. That wouldn't even do it right. Peanut oil was expensive back then. So I would use like whatever kind of oil, cooking with like, you know, vegetable oil. His would call for peanut oil. So those were like probably my 2 favorite cooking shows chef-wise back then. I used to like Bobby Flay too, with the grilling stuff. But that's where I really like loved to learn how to cook. I would mess around with it in high school, but in college I got like super serious about it, because I didn't have anything else to do in my spare time. You know, people don't realize how hard it is, which I guess is not like mentally. I think it's hard when you're an athlete your whole life, you know, and then you have to find something else after that because it defines you. you know, for my entire life up until, you know, the last time I walked off the field, it was almost like a suffix to my name. When people referred to me, it was always like, you know, he's a football player. Like, it was always, oh, you know, yeah, I know him, the football player. It was always that. And it's what you spent, especially in college, the majority of your life doing. So, anybody who played ball in college, or you're going to play ball in college, like, you'll understand what I'm saying. High school is not the same. You know, I'm not saying anything to high school sports. Like, obviously, I played sports in high school, but when you're in high school, there's so much more stuff you're doing around the game. Whether you played any sport, or you could have been in, like, you know, the math team or whatever. Most people in high school, they wear a lot of different hats. You know, like, in high school, I played football, I played baseball, I played basketball, I ran track, I was in musicals, student council, you know, the TV production thing. Like, I did so much stuff that, like, football was always my first thing, but it wasn't, like, all I did, because you do a lot of different things, and obviously you're still trying to hang out with your friends and, you know, whatever else you do in high school. Hopefully stay out of trouble. But college athletics is like, it's like a job, man. Like, you don't do anything else. Like, yeah, you go out with your friends and stuff like that, but you don't have another job. You know, you can't work. And you spend more time doing football-related activities than you do doing student activities. You don't do a lot. You know, most students in college take anywhere from 12 to 18 hours regularly. You know, some people might take more or less, but full-time students are usually on 12 or 18 hours. Maybe you spend another 5. I didn't study in college, I'm not going to lie. But if you spend another 5 studying, or, you know, doing other stuff, football, you spend about 40 hours a week or more doing. So you add that to your coursework, your student, like, workload, you don't have time for anything else. And I know a lot of people who go to college that weren't athletes or whatever, they have like what's the word? You don't like athletes, you feel like they have like a privilege. I can get that. You know, maybe you feel like athletes got preferential treatment, which I get, but it really is like a defining thing that you do. And while people didn't like athletes, a lot of people didn't like athletes, I know that, it's a big driving force of almost every major university. You know, it's what brings the school money. If you're, for example, what's the best college team in the nation right now? Year after year, you can say Alabama, right? I know Georgia won this year, but Alabama's best football team. Or, you know, historically speaking, Kentucky, Duke basketball, you know, so on. You know how many people go to those schools that don't play the sport because they want to be a part of that? Like, it means something. A lot of kids grow up being fans. If you're from Alabama, odds are you're a fan of Alabama or Auburn, right? And you grew up in a household where your parents were probably big fans or alumni of Alabama. So most of you spent Saturdays watching college sports with your family. You grow up and you're going to go to Alabama and you're going to want to go to the Bryant-Denny, that's the stadium, and be a part of that whole thing. That brings a lot of money to the school, not just from people going to the games, but people who just want to be a part of that, you know? I know a lot of people who went to schools all over the country. I had a client who went to Duke. She was a doctor. She didn't play sports. She still watches Duke basketball every other day, you know? When Duke plays in a college tournament or whatever, she still lives and dies with Duke basketball because there's a tie there. And even if you don't like athletes, which I can get because a lot of athletes are dicks, like, I can admit that, you still got to respect what that means and what that brings. But the other side of that coin, the people that weren't a part of it don't understand, is the amount of hours that you put into this game. you might only go out, and I'm talking football-wise, on a Friday night, Saturday afternoon. Most colleges Saturdays. And you're out there, maybe you're tailgating. A lot of college students, you love that, go to tailgating. I never got to do that, but you spend that Saturday afternoon 4 or 5 hours, right? You go, you might get mad if your team loses. That's cool. Do you know how much time the athletes spend preparing for that 60 minutes of football? Do the math. An hour of football, right? Per game. Most kids, most teams, even if you're lucky enough to go to the national championship, you play 14 games. 14 hours. Real time. We practice for 14 hours leading up to the game. A week. You're in the film room for an hour, 2 hours, me 4 hours, 5 hours. I used to be in the film room literally, like every day. Especially when I was older. I was the captain. I had to know everything, and I took that seriously. So I'd be in there watching film at night by myself. My coaches were in the stadium. That's all that was there. And I'm in there 2-3 hours a day. You're watching film with the team another hour. You're working out because you still have to lift weights during. I'm not even talking about off season. You're lifting weights during the season for another 4 hours because you gotta go twice a week. Sometimes it depends on your schedule, but usually it's twice. You're probably injured. Most of us were. I had a bad shoulder my all 4 years of college, dislocated all the time. I still don't have full mobility from it. So I was getting treatment in the morning 5 days a week. Actually 7, to be honest. Because I got treatment on game day and the day after. So, add that up. And I'm just talking about the regular season. Off season's even worse. And you still have to go to class. And you still have to do well in class. Because you want to graduate, don't you? Most of you that went to school, if you did it, you went to school after the game, you were at the bars. I was at the bars. I saw you. You know what I'm saying? But Sunday morning, I was up at the stadium, and we got to run. We used to have to run miles after the game. No joke, the day after, jogging. And sometimes I was hungover. So, there's a lot that goes into it, and that defines you for so long that when you're done, you don't feel like you don't have a purpose. I'm being completely honest. Not because I wanted to keep playing, because I didn't. For me, that was it. But the next year when I went to school, right, in grad school, I didn't know what to do with myself. I had so much free time. I was like, what the hell do I do? Right? And because I graduated at 20, undergrad. Because I graduated at 20, all of my friends redshirted and were older than me. So most of my friends were 22 and 23 years old. And they were still playing. I'm done. And my two best friends, my closest friend in college, I had two, but one of them lived in the same building as me. We had apartments. He had a 1-bedroom, and I had a 1-bedroom, but they were literally next door to each other. In a lot of trouble, but he would stop by my apartment every time on the way to before the game. In his travel, because we had travel suits you had to wear. So he would stop by. What do you think? Well, he would ask me whatever. We'd talk about the game, but then we would just chill. And it was a thing. And then I would watch the game with him in it and me sitting in it. And so it was just for me, I was yo, I feel like I have no purpose. I have nothing to do. And that's where I kind of got into cooking. I find something to do with myself, because my friends were either all playing, or the ones who weren't playing were already gone. They were a lot of my friends didn't go to grad school at the same school. I did. So a lot of my friends were gone, and you just start feeling okay, well, what the hell is my purpose? What am I supposed to, what am I doing in life? It's a weird feeling. And people get that same anxiety anytime you have a life-changing. Some people get it when they go away to college. You know, there are some students who go away to school that end up going home because they don't get homesick. Homesickness is real. I wasn't homesick, but I definitely missed home. I'm from Jersey. I'm in Iowa. Like, I couldn't get bagels. I couldn't get pizza. People talking slow, talking funny. The grocery store workers is telling me how their day's going, and I'm like, I don't know you. You know, in Jersey we don't do that. But, you know, it was like, the homesickness didn't get me because I was like, I have a job to do. This is why I'm here. Like, I'm here to play ball, right? But you live at home for the first 17, most people 18 years of your life. Now you're on your own. There's no one there to help you. You don't realize when you move out how good you have it. So many things that people take for granted when they're teenagers. Teenagers think they know everything. I did too, you know. And you take the stupidest stuff for granted, like dinner. Right? You know, kids come home, you know, mom, dad, whoever, what's for dinner? Spaghetti. Oh, I don't want that. You didn't have to cook. That was your parents. You know, some people did. I cooked something, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, maybe some kids didn't, like, I did my laundry as a teenager, but a lot of teenagers didn't do their own laundry. A lot of, like, their parents did all that. Some parents still clean their kids' room. You know? Give you rides. Bought toilet paper. You know, whatever. There's the little stupid stuff around the house. Bought your food. You know? And teenagers kind of take that stuff for granted because you feel like you're old enough. Oh, I can do all of this. But you don't have a damn job. So, teenage years are always very weird like that. And I think a lot of people don't realize it. No matter how old you are. I feel like the biggest way that you appreciate your parents and don't feel like, oh, they're being annoying or, oh, they're always telling you what to do is when you move out. You don't have to see them all the time. It allows you to miss them more. And because you have to do all that stuff, you know, when you are cooking or you're doing your laundry or whatever, and your parents ain't there, you're kind of like, oh man, I had it so easy. Any teenager who complains about your parents, trust me when I tell you this, you're not going to complain in 5 years. You're going to miss them, unless you're still living at home. And you're not going to listen to me when I say this. Because I didn't listen to me when I said this. Stop giving your parents a hard time. When they tell you what to do, they're not telling you what to do. Obviously, there's always underlying circumstances. But in general, if you come from a home where your parents are there for you, I know you're going to be mad when they tell you you can't go somewhere or you shouldn't do this. Or they're not telling you that because they don't like you. They're telling you that because you don't get it yet. And every teenager thinks they get it. And you don't. You think you do. But there's a 95% chance you do not. And you'll learn that one day. You know? It's funny because now a lot of you watching have watched me and my dad because you watched the video with us together. And you saw our interactions and stuff. And there was a few of you, I remember one specifically that was like, I thought you said your dad was strict. He doesn't seem strict at all. He seems cool. You understand that I've been out of my house for over 10 years? Like, I was out of my house at 17. I've never once said that I didn't like my parents. I don't know why. Were my parents strict when I was growing up? Yeah, bro, they were. They were stricter than most of my friends' parents, if not all. I'm not making that up. I wasn't allowed to do certain things in high school. I couldn't go to parties like that. I couldn't hang out at night late like that. My parents wouldn't let me. That's not a joke. I can remember vividly it being like 9:30 and me asking them, can I stay out for an hour? And they're saying, no, bring your ass home. Those are facts. Do I agree with it? No. Did I agree with it? No. Do I agree with it? No. No. But I've been out of my house for over 10 years. These are conversations I have now had with my parents. You know, how come you don't let me stay out past whatever? And a lot of times they were giving me a hard time and I was being a little childish ass kid. Some things I didn't agree with, but I don't have kids. I can't tell people how to raise their kids, and I think they did a pretty damn good job. But they did what they thought was best for me. They were pretty strict at times. At times I'd go in my room and fucking curse them out under my breath. And if they heard me, I would probably lost my teeth. But these are not like shit that I was making up. I have a great relationship with my family now. When I stop by and I go say hi to them at their house, it's great. But they don't have to see me all day. They don't get to see me when I'm in a bad mood, because I won't go over there. So our relationships are much different. I'm an adult now, you know? I'm on my own. I pay my own bills. So when I see them now, it's a lot different of conversations, you know? And anybody who's in my age bracket, if you're over the age of 25, or you already live on your own, and your parents are still in your life, like, you get what I'm saying. It'll make sense to you when you get older. I didn't really appreciate my parents until I went to college. And I was on my own all the time. Not because I did my own chores for the most part, but when I was allowed to make my own decisions, I made a lot of stupid ass decisions. I'm just being real. Like, I made stupid ass decisions. There's two parts to that. One part to me is because they were strict, so I was drunk with freedom. And literally drunk. So it caused me to be an idiot. But the other part was, I wasn't mature enough yet. I wasn't a damn adult. It took me until I was probably about 19 or 20, like, you know, like, literally, like, junior years and so on, for me to be like, all right, bro, you got responsibility. I think I got it, not being real. I think I got it, like, in the middle of my, like, going into my sophomore year is when I got it. I was like, and the truth of the matter was, I was given my own freedom to do, because in college, no one's going to watch you. They don't care. You don't go to class. No one's going to come knocking on your door. They're not going to yell at you. Right? Your coaches might yell at you, but if you don't listen, they're just going to kick you off the team. So, when I was in danger of losing my scholarship, and I kind of got told that by my coach, like, listen, you're messing. Like, I was like, yo, I am. So, I got it after that. I didn't need anybody to tell me after that. I was like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So, after that, I realized, like, yeah, you can have fun, but you got to take care of your responsibilities, your business. Like, this is your future at that point. And even now as an adult, like, do I still enjoy myself? Yeah, but I make sure I do what the hell I got to do before I enjoy myself, you know? It's the equivalent of an adult buying a new pair of Jordans when their rent is past due. Can't do that. Pay your rent. If you got extra money and you feel like using it on that, then you can. So, these are things that I had to learn on my own, and now that I'm a relatively mature adult, I've had these conversations with my family, and I talk to other people about it, and our relationships are much different. I don't know shit. The person you see sitting here right now is not the same person that you would have saw, you know, in high school. Like most teenagers, a lot of people watching these videos are past their teenage years. Some of you are in your teenage years. Like most teenagers, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was ready to be on my own. I was not. Most are not. And usually it takes some sort of event for people to be like, okay, I gotta grow up now, right? Some people, it might be having kids. You know, when you have a kid, you're kind of like, I can't be doing this teenage shit anymore. I got a son or a daughter or who want. And, you know, for some people, it might be getting in trouble. Or for some people like me, it might be, okay, well, you're not gonna have a scholarship if you don't screw up. But because of that, I haven't had a fight with my parents in years. I had tons in high school. So, yes, were my parents cool back then? Yes, but I didn't see that. I saw they're always telling me what to do. Now, I never thought a million. If you asked me at 15 years old, if my dad would have came over, you know, and did a video with me and my best friend at like 2 o'clock in the morning eating Banana King, shooting the shit, like, nah. You know what I'm saying? But it's different now. So, yes, you were right, but you're not right. It's a dumb thing. Like, I'm closer with my family now that I live by myself than I ever was when I was in the house. I was trying to get out of the house when I was in the house. So, you'll get it. If you don't get it, you haven't gone through it yet, and you will. You know, I'm not here to tell you anything, just to tell you. Again, I said this in a couple of videos ago, if you are talking to somebody who has their shit together, so if you're 15 and you know somebody who's 30 or 40 or so on, and they seem like they have their shit together, and they're telling you, like, listen, like, don't do this, you should probably listen, but you won't, because no one does, until it's too late. I had kids that I coached when I got back from school, and I tell them the same shit. and they didn't listen. And I ran into a couple of them in the last few years, because it's been like, 5 years or so. And guess what they say? Damn, you were right. Because now they got kids and shit, and they understand. So we all do it, man. It's a part of growing up, and everybody does it. But anyway, that was delicious. Tomorrow, I believe, is highest rated. I kind of got like a little schedule going. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the breakfast thing. And we'll keep rocking and rolling. We got the chicken sandwich finale coming this weekend. I would do it now, but I got to keep the schedule. So we back tomorrow. More content. I love Yada Hand Signs. They made it to YouTube.